You know, I've always been a fan of two things: superheroes, video games, and girls that look like this. Wait a minute, that's three. I've been a fan of these things for as long as I can remember, so I think you can imagine my excitement when I learned that Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe exists. And while I did miss out on playing it, after watching a ton of playthroughs and videos analyzing it, I can confidently say two things about it. It gets a lot more hate than it actually deserves, and whatever Midway was cooking should have been kept in the oven for a little longer. Because while yes, this game may be rated T for teen, have safe for work fatalities, and certain physics that will make certain types of people look at it like this, I personally believe that this game could have been great. It had a great choice of characters, an interesting premise, and would have been the perfect start to the first Mortal Kombat game with the story mode. Of course, I only say could have because the story in this game isn't all that great, and is only good when you compare it to something like this, which is exactly why I made this video, as I want to remake this game and give it a story that's actually good, one that will make people laugh, cry, and possibly rock solid depending on what they're looking at. And while I'm at it, I might as well add Warner Brothers' biggest competitor into the mix, because who doesn't like a good old-fashioned three-way? But before we get into that, let's get into the sponsor for today's video, Opera GX, a browser that's specifically meant for gamers, which works perfectly since they make up roughly half the population. Wait, what? We aren't actually sponsored by them? And we could get sued for saying we are? Oh, well, it's a good thing I had a backup plan, because this video is now sponsored by my Patreon, which is only $3 by the way, where you get all these benefits just by subscribing to it. And if you need some more motivation, then here you go.
Either subscribe, donate, or get the fuck out.
Alright, now that the advertisement's over, let's get into my remake for this game, starting with analyzing what went wrong with the original. The original Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe was a lovable mess that you could only enjoy when you're hanging out with friends past 12 AM. The mechanics and gameplay were pretty clunky at times, but overall enjoyable nonetheless. Of course, that's just the gameplay. Let's get into the main story since that's where the good stuff is. The story follows two different narratives, the Mortal Kombat side and the DC side. I kinda like how the game separated the two narratives and let you choose which one you want to start from, but it does get confusing when you want to explain it briefly in a YouTube video, so I'll just cover them both at once. The story is caused by the mistake of both Raiden and Superman attacking their villains when they were just leaving, causing a catastrophe that can only be explained by the word convenient, as now thanks to the two's incompetence, several characters on both sides start switching places with one another, causing a divide between the two sides. And conveniently, they only try to talk out their differences at the end of the story, and not at the several points they could have just outright asked, "Are you working with our biggest enemy?" This is by far one of the main problems with the story. It's held together by the fact that the characters don't ask the right questions, when canonically speaking, over half of them would. And it gets even worse when you look at the foundation. The only reason this story even takes place is because two separate things happened at the same time across two different universes. And while that isn't necessarily a problem in itself, it doesn't help the story's case either, as now you have to justify why this happened and not anything else, on top of why the smartest characters in the story don't ask the right questions until the last 30 minutes of it. Now I know I'm being overly critical here, but I'm doing it to illustrate the flaws within the story. This story went wrong in choosing this for its premise. There are a lot of things in both the Mortal Kombat and DC universe that could get you from one dimension to another, and choosing this was by far the worst choice to make. This story also went wrong in not leaning into the intellect of the characters, as it made them look stupid for the sake of the plot, and Raiden got the worst of it, as he's the one that's supposed to be all wise and powerful, yet this was also him when he had the chance to ask a wise question.
Raiden, God of Thunder, Protector of Earthrealm, ageless and wise beyond measure. Wise beyond measure, doesn't question Batman when saving Liu Kang.
First, I need answers.
Release Liu Kang.
Doesn't teleport Jax and Sonya to the Watchtower. Thinks Sub-Zero was an enemy. Asks dumb questions to Captain Marvel.
This is a focal point between the realm of the gods and men.
Which gods?
By the elder gods.
Thinks Sub-Zero released Quan Chi on purpose.
It's not intentional, I swear to you.
Thinks Quan Chi is behind all of this.
This is your doing, sorcerer.
Pairs up Liu Kang with Shang Tsung.
I will do as you ask.
Could teleport people instantly, but only uses it once. Shocked Shao Kahn into the portal that started this whole conflict. Was the one that kicked off the final battle.
We have come to challenge you in Mortal Kombat.
Wise beyond measure. It's all your fucking fault.
Now again, I'm not knocking this game for not having the best story. I'm only pointing out these flaws so that when I get into the story for my remake, I don't make the same mistakes. So let's start by introducing what characters are going to be in this remake of mine. Now I know this is gonna come out of nowhere, but promise me that when you hear what I have to say, you won't click off the video without subscribing first. Here we go. I'm not adding villains from Marvel or DC in the character roster.
What? What?
The reason I'm doing this is because I want to focus more on the villains in the Mortal Kombat universe, since they will be the driving force for the main conflict in the story. And just by me saying that, I think you can already tell that Shang Tsung and Quan Chi are going to be in this story. I think they would have been a much better fit for starting the main conflict in the story, considering how they were one of the main things I implied just a couple of minutes ago. Raiden, Liu Kang, and Kung Lao will also be there, considering how much stake they have in anything Shang Tsung does. And just for good measure, let's also add Baraka, Reptile, Tanya, and Scorpion, since Mortal Kombat has the more interesting villains in my opinion. Oh, and before I forget, Fujin is here too, mostly because he's one of Raiden's greatest allies, so it would be a waste to not use him. What do you mean, what about Sub-Zero? That doesn't mean he'll be in this one. I mean seriously, how would he even fit in this game? He's not necessarily a villain in the typical sense, and is only connected to one character out of the entire roster. Realistically speaking, he'd just be taking up space in the story, as he has no real reason to be there if you took the other guy out of it. Moving on, let's get into the DC section. Obviously, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and who am I even kidding? The entire Justice League is in this game. That also includes Shazam, Cyborg, and Plastic Man. I think his inclusion in Injustice was pretty good, and I want him to be more utilized as a character. As for the Marvel section, the Avengers will definitely be here, with Spider-Man and Kitty Pryde being included as well. Spider-Man is practically the main character of Marvel Comics, so including him was a no-brainer. And I saw you through the screen wondering why I picked Kitty Pryde, so let me answer your question right now. I chose her because she has ties to Peter in the comics and can make for some interesting gameplay design with her powers. As for the DLCs, I wanted to add 4 DLC characters to each side, and then 10 guest characters from any franchise, with the only rule being that they have to be a supervillain or a superhero. This was to keep the theme of superheroes and supervillains that the original game had. The DLC characters for the Mortal Kombat side include Scarlet, Hotaru, Shujinko, and Chameleon. I wanted to include Chameleon because he's my favorite out of all the ninjas, and Scarlet was an easy choice when you look at her backstory in Mortal Kombat 9. I always thought it was kinda stupid how nobody acknowledges Shujinko's existence after everything that's happened in Deception, yet I find it even stupider that NetherRealm hasn't used him as a character more often, so I might as well rectify it now. As for Hotaru, due to the amount of chaos that will ensue in the story, it makes sense that there will be an enforcer in it, you know, to spice up the story a little bit. The DLC characters for both Marvel and DC will include Deadpool, Captain Marvel, Legion, Doctor Strange, Booster Gold, The Atom, Saint Walker, and The Question. Captain Marvel makes sense since she's one of the Avengers and practically one of their strongest members. Doctor Strange is used to universal hijinks, Deadpool is, well, Deadpool, and Legion is included because I like the show and the character, and I'm pissed that Disney chose to use Sentry over him, as he would have been a great way to introduce not only the X-Men and the mutants, but also display how much of a threat they can really be. Lastly, we have the guest characters, which will include Hancock, Invincible, yes that one, Mr. Incredible before he got fat, Black Adam, Doctor Doom, Thanos, Darkseid, Sinestro, Angstrom Levy, and Michael Myers. I wanted a good chunk of them to be from the big 3 in comics, and then the rest to be from other franchises, like Hancock and Mr. Incredible. Honestly, I think I did a pretty good job in terms of choosing which characters to get and which ones to gloss over, as everyone here is a great fit for the game. And if you're wondering why I included Michael Myers, it's because this game would technically be Mortal Kombat 8, which would mean in Mortal Kombat 9 we get Freddy Krueger, and then in 10 we get Jason Voorhees.
I can see what they're doing, what he's doing. He's cooking.
Don't worry, you don't have to thank me. Just subscribing and liking the video will be enough. Oh, and also checking out my Patreon too. The story synopsis reads as follows. Shang Tsung and Quan Chi, under the will of Shao Kahn, do whatever they can to create warriors for the upcoming Mortal Kombat tournament. After several attempts, Quan Chi is able to open a portal to different worlds, and brings in the strongest warriors he can. Shang Tsung sets out to divide the various heroes brought, while Quan Chi strives to bring in their villains. Will Raiden be able to figure out their plan and stop the Deadly Alliance before it's too late? I tried my best to make the synopsis sound as fitting as possible given the tone of the game, making it not too sinister but also not too campy, since this remake is still going to be rated T for teen after all. And while that may seem like a bad decision, just remember that Coraline was rated PG, yet it still probably terrified you as a child. Obviously I wanted Shang Tsung and Quan Chi to be the main villains of the story, since I always thought they'd make a better fit than whatever the hell this guy was. Lastly, I hope you enjoyed my picks for the character roster, as well as the concept I give for the story, and if you have your own ideas, then please leave them in the comments, as this project of mine can always improve and get better. Now without further ado, let's get into the story mode of Mortal Kombat vs Marvel and DC. Shang Tsung and Quan Chi are called to see Shao Kahn and bow before him as he tells them that the next Mortal Kombat tournament is coming up. Shao Kahn orders them to use their powers and influence to find and or create new warriors for the tournament to secure their victory. Shang Tsung and Quan Chi follow these orders and set out to complete them in order to not face Shao Kahn's wrath. Shang Tsung and Quan Chi question each other on what they're going to do to complete their end of the task. Quan Chi mentions that he has a couple of people in mind, while Shang Tsung mentions that his experiments are not yet ready, and jokes about the failures not being suitable for the tournament. After some brainstorming of their predicament, Quan Chi comes up with an idea and tells Shang Tsung to meet him in a study later. The two leave, and it's revealed that Scarlet was watching them from the shadows. Quan Chi is shown to be in his studies, revealing various paintings, books, and pictures from other dimensions, as he recites a certain incantation that opens a portal to another dimension. Shang Tsung finds Quan Chi in his study opening this portal, but his entrance shocks Quan Chi, causing the portal to close. After some revelations and discussions, Quan Chi reveals that he's been able to create portals to other dimensions, and has brought several items from those dimensions as proof. Quan Chi then admits that those same items he brought from the other dimensions deteriorate after short periods of time. Shang Tsung then states that Quan Chi's initial idea was to bring powerful warriors from other dimensions to give them a leg up over Raiden, but due to this dimensional rule, the warriors probably won't last long in the tournament. Shang Tsung then says that he might have an idea on how to use this dimensional travel to their advantage. However, Shang Tsung tells Quan Chi that if this plan fails, then not a word of it to Shao Kahn, as he is afraid of what Shao Kahn can do with such power. Quan Chi agrees to this, while Scarlet overhears them, shocked at the possibilities of what they can do. Liu Kang is shown training in a monastery, but stops himself from harming a small insect. Kung Lao makes fun of him for this, and the two have a friendly bickering match, which results in a training fight between the two. Liu Kang is caught off guard, however, when Kung Lao reveals his secret weapon, but he ultimately still ends up losing to Liu Kang. After his defeat, the two decide to go get something to eat. Spider-Man is shown swinging around the city until he runs into Kitty Pryde. The two have a conversation and discuss their upcoming date plans, until Shang Tsung arrives in a disguise through a portal, begging for their help. He tells them that invaders are trying to take over his realm, and needs their help in stopping them. Kitty Pryde is hesitant at first, but Spider-Man talks her into going over there and stopping this threat. The two go to Shang Tsung's dimension, where he sends them to Order Realm, and tells them that Hotaru and his forces are currently keeping Outworld hostages. He also tells them that the Avengers will also help out in stopping Raiden in Earth Realm, and tells them to meet one of his sources by the lake when they're done. Shang Tsung leaves, and Spider-Man and Kitty Pryde wait for their moment to strike, as a captive under Hotaru escapes and tries to free the other captives. Spider-Man and Kitty Pryde take the chance to fight Hotaru and his underlings, as Baraka, the captive that started the altercation, looks on as Spider-Man fights Hotaru, mentioning the Avengers arriving and stopping Raiden. Spider-Man and Kitty Pryde defeat Hotaru and his underlings, and Baraka tells them that they should go by the lake and wait for Shang Tsung's arrival. Spider-Man questions Baraka's involvement, but Baraka simply uses the excuse that he was the mole on the inside. Baraka tells Hotaru that Raiden and his allies are next, and to tell him that. Spider-Man, Kitty Pryde, and Baraka go to the lake, where Quan Chi meets Shang Tsung, who takes them to an Outworld prison. Kitty Pryde questions why they were sent to a prison, but Baraka reveals that a warrior who's slain their numbers resides in that prison, and states that with this they can get information, and disprove any doubts. Spider-Man and Kitty Pryde are hesitant, but state that they'll move forward in trusting Baraka. Baraka takes them to the cell of an old man, who is allied with Earthrealm and its warriors. Raiden is shown meditating at his monastery. Fujin interrupts him with the message of Hotaru from one of his soldiers. The soldier tells Raiden that Hotaru was attacked by two superpowered individuals, and are working with Baraka, as well as the fact that he is their next target. Raiden is shocked by this news, and immediately tells Fujin to gather the two great fighters he told him about earlier. Raiden thanks the soldier for this information, and tells the soldier to send Hotaru his regards. Raiden is shown contemplating the circumstances of the situation, and questions the purpose of this attack, and its perpetrators. After a brief conversation, Raiden concludes that the attackers are likely ill-informed, as the attack is perpetrated by Shang Tsung, most likely under the orders of Shao Kahn due to the upcoming Mortal Kombat tournament. Raiden then states that it's best to have his greatest warriors right beside him, that way he can make sure they're protected. Raiden then questions what Shang Tsung will throw at him, as they were willing to warn him that he's next. He concludes that even though they might be too powerful for Liu Kang and Kung Lao, they can pitch in when the time is right, and help him stop them and Shang Tsung. Liu Kang and Kung Lao meet Raiden in his residence with Fujin's assistance, and the four try to figure out what Shang Tsung is planning, as well as what he could be sending after them. Kung Lao questions if Shang Tsung can even do this, as this would violate the Elder God's rule, but Raiden states that this isn't an invasion, but rather a myriad of personal affairs, something that the Elder Gods wouldn't waste their time on. Liu Kang then questions what the plan is, but Raiden states that right now, his only plan is keeping his greatest fighters safe, as Shang Tsung will try to get to them in order to sabotage Earthrealm's chances in winning the Mortal Kombat tournament. Fujin then mentions that Raiden Raiden will be attacked next, and that they're going to need to be cautious of how they're going to join this upcoming battle, with Raiden concluding that if his attackers can be reasoned with, he will try to do so. Liu Kang then questions what will happen if they aren't, causing Raiden to admit that he will make them experience a fate worse than Outworld. The Avengers sneak attack Raiden, Fujin, Liu Kang, and Kung Lao, bringing them outside as they face off with Iron Man, Thor, and Black Widow, while Bruce Banner and Hawkeye hide in the background. We cut to the Avengers being shown having an after party, with Iron Man revealing that the reason is due to the amount of invasions they've had to deal with lately, as well as other superhero affairs. The people in the party are Iron Man, Captain America, Nick Fury, Maria Hill, Bruce Banner, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Thor, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch. The Avengers are contacted by Shang Tsung in disguise, who pleads for help in stopping Raiden from invading his world. Shang Tsung tells them that Raiden is a mad god, who wants to invade Outworld using Earthrealm heroes and resources, painting them out to be villains and demons, even though they don't even interact with them on a large scale. The Avengers, specifically Iron Man, are more sympathetic to Shang Tsung's story, and ask Nick Fury to help get more heroes to act in their place, while they go and help Shang Tsung to stop Raiden and his allies. Nick Fury does this, and says that he'll send backup in case they need more help. Shang Tsung is pleased by this, and sends the Marvel heroes to his dimension. Shang Tsung teleports the heroes to Earthrealm's dimension, specifically in the village of Fang Jihan. Shang Tsung states that in his study, Raiden is currently planning another attack on his realm, and urges them to stop him while his forces deal with his allies. Shang Tsung leaves, as Black Widow and Bruce Banner question Shang Tsung's story, as the place seems rather peaceful, and the people seem non-violent. Iron Man and Captain America then argue about what they should do next, with the two concluding that they should split up, with one side stopping Raiden, and the other side getting answers and the full story. Quicksilver takes Captain America and Scarlet Witch across the land, while Iron Man will lead the rest in stopping Raiden. Iron Man then gives the game plan for the team to ambush Raiden while he's distracted, which also leaves room for him to talk things out. Iron Man also tells Raiden that if he finds a clean shot to neutralize someone, then take it. We cut to Iron Man asking what Raiden is planning, as both Raiden and Liu Kang try to reason with him and the rest of the Avengers. Thor gets ready to attack, as Kung Lao notices Hawkeye lining up a shot on Liu Kang, causing him to throw his weapon at Iron Man and take the intended shot towards Liu Kang. The mishap causes the two sides to fight, as Thor attacks Raiden while Fujin goes after Iron Man, and Liu Kang goes after Black Widow. Raiden shoots lightning at Iron Man, causing his suit to shut down, but gets attacked by Thor. Hawkeye decides to join in, as Bruce begs him not to, claiming that they can still talk this out. Hawkeye hears him out, but decides to step in when Black Widow is in trouble. Hawkeye tries to reason with Liu Kang, but Liu Kang fights back, claiming that he was going to hurt him, under the orders of Shang Tsung. Kung Lao tries to help Liu Kang, but is overpowered by Black Widow due to the poison, leading Liu Kang to take both of them on. Iron Man overhears their chatter as his suit reboots, and he starts to piece together that Shang Tsung is most likely their enemy, that Raiden is his target, and that the Avengers were set up. Iron Man tries to reason with Fujin, but is overpowered by him. Thor overpowers Raiden, but is distracted when Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Iron Man struggle against Liu Kang and Fujin. Thor goes to their aid, but is attacked by Raiden, who shoots lightning at Iron Man, overloading his circuits and causing his suit to malfunction. Bruce Banner watches all of this go down, and as his heart rate continuously beeps, his stress grows exponentially, but comes to a standstill when he sees Black Widow about to be knocked out by Liu Kang. Bruce Banner runs to help Black Widow, but gets caught in the crossfire of Raiden and Fujin attacking Thor, as Raiden accidentally shoots lightning at Bruce Banner, sending him into the forest. Everyone stops as Raiden immediately questions what he's just done, as every Avenger becomes afraid of the Hulk's appearance. Quicksilver runs to the location of the fight and yells that they were tricked into fighting each other. Hawkeye and Iron Man jokingly wish that Quicksilver had shown up earlier, as everyone notices the forest moving. The Hulk then appears, making everyone afraid, as Iron Man states that they need to work together in order to contain him. Liu Kang then questions why they should work together when they attacked him first, but Raiden reasons with him, stating that they were played like a fool and should not hold their anger towards him, but to Shang Tsung, as he's the real enemy. Raiden then helps Iron Man up, as Thor powers his suit to max capacity. Iron Man then tells Black Widow and Hawkeye to get Kung Lao and Liu Kang to safety, as they won't be able to stop the Hulk. Iron Man also tells Quicksilver to bring Captain America and Scarlet Witch back. The five listen to him, as Iron Man, Thor, Fujin, and Raiden get ready to take on the Hulk. A fight ensues, as Fujin and Iron Man are overpowered by the Hulk, with Raiden soon following suit. Thor then decides to hold off the Hulk for as long as he can, while Raiden works on an attack that will paralyze the Hulk. Thor wins his fight with the Hulk momentarily, but is ultimately knocked down by him, as Raiden saves him through generating enough electricity to paralyze the Hulk. Raiden then helps Thor up, as he mentions that he's starting to feel a bit weaker than before. Quicksilver brings back both Scarlet Witch and Captain America, and all three appear to be fatigued, as Liu Kang runs to everyone, yelling that Black Widow and Hawkeye have been rendered unconscious. Iron Man then falls down, with Fujin trying to help him up, but Jarvis takes over and claims that the suit is now on autopilot, and that the Hulk is about to regain movement in about 30 seconds. Thor questions why his strength is fleeting and wonders if Raiden did something to do it, but Captain America stops him and tells him that right now they need to stop the Hulk from wreaking havoc. Captain America then asks Scarlet Witch if she has mastered that spell that she's been working on to stop the Hulk, but she claims that she isn't ready yet as she has to use all of her energy in order to do it. Captain America tells her to do so as Raiden and Fujin will make sure she's safe. The Hulk comes back into the fray and moves to attack everyone there, but Scarlet Witch stands before him and uses an illusion spell that puts him at peace. This makes Bruce Banner slowly turn back to normal as we see his perspective on what puts him at peace. Bruce and Scarlet Witch then fall unconscious as Quicksilver rushes to help Wanda while stating that he can give more to the fight. Raiden, Fujin, Liu Kang, and Iron Man then help Bruce, Tony Stark, and Thor to shelter as Captain America apologizes for the misunderstanding. Raiden then apologizes for not being more mindful of how Shang Tsung's manipulation can run deep. Iron Man then detects something's wrong and sees someone trying to take a shot at Captain America and blocks it. Raiden, Fujin, and Liu Kang then become alarmed at what just happened as both Shazam and Cyborg come out of hiding to attack Raiden. Raiden and Fujin overpower Shazam and fight him off while Iron Man struggles against Cyborg. This is until Thor overpowers Cyborg and makes him scream due to the amount of electricity short-circuiting him. Shazam and Cyborg then regroup as they face off Raiden, Fujin, Iron Man, and Thor. This face-off is interrupted, however, when Superman shows up, saying that Shang Tsung was right about them all along. Cyborg and Shazam are shown hanging out in Cyborg's laboratory. Shazam states that he wants to do a mission with Cyborg while the Justice League doesn't need them, but Cyborg mentions that he's busy with a couple of projects that the Atom is currently helping him with. Shazam then questions whether it's related to the Teen Titans or not, but Cyborg says no, and asks Shazam if he has to be in school right now, causing Shazam to joke about the fact that it's summer. Cyborg then states that if the time ever comes, then he'll do a mission with Shazam, but states that right now he's busy. Shazam then goes to leave in disappointment, but Shang Tsung contacts the two in disguise, using a similar story he told the Avengers in Spider-Man. Shazam is quick to accept Shang Tsung's plea, with Cyborg soon following suit as he asks Shang Tsung where exactly this Raiden is. The Justice League are shown discussing the possibilities of Plastic Man joining them as he has a criminal record and could be a spy. Batman, Superman, and Flash argue in his favor, but Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Green Lantern, and Martian Manhunter argue against him. Plastic Man is shown outside waiting as a cleaning bot approaches him. Plastic Man makes light conversation with the robot and says that Batman and Superman are really taking a chance on him and that he doesn't want to mess it up this time. The team reach a compromise where Plastic Man will go with them for one mission, and if he can prove that he's changed and now has the heart of a hero, then he will join the Justice League. The entire group then welcomes Plastic Man into the room and states the rules of being a member of the Justice League, and Plastic Man earnestly accepts them. Shang Tsung then contacts the Justice League in disguise, using the same story he gave Cyborg and Shazam. The Justice League are skeptical and ask for some time to decide if they want to help or not. The Justice League then split on whether they should help or not. Batman, Wonder Woman, and Martian Manhunter doubt Shang Tsung's story, whereas Superman, Plastic Man, Flash, Green Lantern, and Aquaman all believe Shang Tsung's story to a certain extent. However, each member of the team agrees that lives could possibly be at stake, and Batman decides to take the lead on helping Shang Tsung, whether his story is false or not. The Justice League accepts Shang Tsung's plea, but Batman states that they'll only help if he sends one group after Raiden and another to his home realm, Outworld. Batman does this to see whether Shang Tsung will inadvertently admit he's lying right then and there. Shang Tsung is shocked by this, and while hesitant at first, he gladly accepts this part of the deal. Shang Tsung warns the team that he can only send them to Earthrealm, and not the location of Raiden, and sends Batman, Green Lantern, and Plastic Man to Outworld, while Superman, Flash, Martian Manhunter, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman go after Raiden and the Avengers. After being sent to Outworld, Batman, Green Lantern, and Plastic Man scope out the place, as Batman decides to go to their prison. Batman does this with the rationale that he's most likely keeping Raiden's forces hostage, and can use them as intel on whether Shang Tsung's lying or not. Green Lantern questions this, mentioning that they could lie just as much as him, but Batman states that they've never met him. Batman, Green Lantern, and Plastic Man head to the Outworld prison, while Superman, Flash, Martian Manhunter, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman search Earthrealm for Raiden and his allies. The team discuss how they'll stop Shang Tsung if he's lying to them, but Superman stops everyone when he hears Cyborg scream out in pain, and tells the team to immediately go to his location as he flies over to Cyborg. Superman then finds Cyborg and Shazam facing off against Thor, Iron Man, Raiden, and Fujin. Superman tries to fight Raiden, who attempts to reason with him and reveal that he's being tricked, but Superman doubles down, saying that he will not fall for their lies. Fujin and Thor try to hold off Flash and Shazam, but fail as the two overpower them. Flash then questions Shazam as to why he and Cyborg are here, with Shazam revealing that Shang Tsung also asked for help, concluding that he needed the entire Justice League to stop them. Cyborg then questions where everyone else is, with Flash revealing the fact that they should have been here by now. Quicksilver then catches Flash off guard, and the two fight, while Shazam is attacked by by Iron Man. Cyborg then attempts to help Shazam, but is stopped by Thor, who tells him to stay down. Thor reveals that he's starting to lose a significant portion of his strength, while Fujin stating that in time, the same will happen to their opponents. Quicksilver loses his fight against the Flash, but was successful in tiring him out. Thor and Fujin then try to reason with Flash and Cyborg, while Raiden continues to do the same with Superman, but they ultimately fail as their opponents overpower them. Raiden then loses his patience as he overpowers Superman and shoots lightning everywhere, as he orders everyone to stop fighting at once. Raiden tells Superman and his allies to stand down, as he and his comrades simply want to talk. The rest of the Justice League, as well as Spider-Man and Kitty Pryde, then appear from the sky, using Plastic Man as a plane, with Martian Manhunter telling them to stop. Spider-Man and Kitty Pryde follow Baraka to the cell of Shujinko, while Spider-Man asks Baraka about his current fighting abilities. Baraka then briefly mentions that Shujinko had helped the Dragon King almost overtake Outworld, and that he's helped numerous other villains in his quest. Spider-Man then jokes about a Dragon King and asks Baraka how they caught him. Baraka states that he wasn't there when they did, but Spider-Man keens in on this fact, mentioning that if Shang Tsung was really at war with Raiden and his allies, then he would know of the details. Baraka then tries to intimidate Spider-Man, saying that he was fighting more important battles, and that word of mouth does not travel so easily in his dimension. Baraka then points Spider-Man's attention to Kitty Pryde staggering and walking. Spider-Man helps her walk and thinks of why she would be this weak, and starts questioning Baraka. Baraka then mentions that they're in another dimension, and that in itself has consequences. Spider-Man then gets serious and tells Baraka that he better be telling the truth about this conflict, otherwise he'll make him pay for it. Baraka then looks at Spider-Man and then at Kitty Pryde, and with a look of remorse, says that once this is over, he'll go back to his dimension, as Baraka leads him to Shujinko's cell. Spider-Man starts to feel weak, while Kitty Pryde jokes about how this has turned into a pretty bad date, but Spider-Man states that they can go for ice cream when they get back. Baraka is moved by what they're saying, but tries to keep an emotionless posture, as the three finally head to Shujinko's cell. Spider-Man is shocked by the fact that Shujinko is just an old man, and questions what the hell could a feeble old man really do, but Baraka opens his cell and tells him that he's stronger than he looks. And to prove this, immediately after his cell is opened, Shujinko attacks Baraka, knocking him down effortlessly. Shujinko then turns to Spider-Man in a weakened state, as he puts down Kitty Pryde and fights Shujinko. Spider-Man struggles, but is ultimately the victor, as Shujinko falls before him, with Baraka finally getting up, as he now whispers "forgive me." Baraka then lunges at Spider-Man, but Kitty Pryde catches him off guard and attacks him. Baraka knocks Kitty Pryde down, causing both him and Spider-Man to fight. Spider-Man wins, as Baraka is held by his arms, with Spider-Man telling him to reveal what he's planning. Spider-Man then thinks that even though he knows this is a setup, he suspects there's more to it, as they had him and Kitty Pryde attack someone else before coming here. Shujinko comes too, questioning what nonsense Spider-Man is uttering. Spider-Man and Shujinko then talk about how Shujinko really ended up there, and reveals that Baraka works for Shang Tsung. Shujinko also reveals that Shang Tsung most likely wanted Spider-Man and Kitty Pryde to hinder the chances of Earthrealm winning the next Mortal Kombat tournament. Batman then appears from the shadows, stating that he thought this was a setup from the beginning. Spider-Man then gets ready to fight Batman, but Batman tells him to calm down, as they're on the same side. Batman then tells Green Lantern to meet him outside the prison, as he found other heroes and a lead. Spider-Man tries to question Batman further, but Batman states that they have no time for questions and must hurry to get out of this dimension, as being in this dimension for short periods of time makes them weak, with Batman stating that they might die if Spider-Man and Shujinko don't come with them. Green Lantern and Plastic Man are outside of the prison, with Green Lantern revealing that his powering is around 42%, and that he's becoming weaker every second. Plastic Man then reveals that he's not tired at all, and that he can't remember the last time he got sick after getting his powers. Green Lantern then jokes with Plastic Man, as Batman, Spider-Man, Kitty Pryde, Baraka, and Shujinko run towards them. Green Lantern then questions who the individuals are, and Batman quickly states that he and the girl are heroes from a different dimension. Shujinko was an Outworld prisoner, and that Baraka is a henchman of Shang Tsung. Batman also reveals that the Justice League was lied to, which disappoints Green Lantern and Plastic Man. Batman then tells them that Shang Tsung let them go to Outworld in hopes of trapping them there. Spider-Man jokes about how bad their situation is, which causes Batman to say that they still have Baraka, who could tell him any more of Shang Tsung's plan. Baraka admits that he doesn't know anything else, and was just following orders from Shang Tsung. Batman and Spider-Man are disappointed, and while Green Lantern and Plastic Man try to get more information out of him, Batman stops them, as he admits that if Shang Tsung was clever enough to trick both the Justice League and the Avengers like this, then he wouldn't give crucial information to a lackey. Plastic Man then gets frustrated and questions how they're even going to escape Outworld, as they not only need to find everyone else, but also need to stop Shang Tsung in whatever he's trying to do. Spider-Man then calms everyone down and point blank asks Baraka if there's a way to get to Raiden in Earthrealm. Baraka then ponders for a moment before telling Spider-Man that there is, and that they need to follow him in order to get to it. Green Lantern and and Plastic Man then question why they should listen to him, as he could still be trying to kill them, but Batman wants to give him a chance, as it's their only way out of this mess, pointing out that Kitty Pryde is already unconscious, and that it's only a matter of time before she dies. Batman then helps Baraka up, and asks him how far the exit is, with Baraka stating that it shouldn't be too far from here. Batman then asks Green Lantern if he can make a plane to carry everyone, but Green Lantern admits that he's only at 41% on his power ring, and that he might not be able to do anything afterwards. Batman is willing to take that chance, as Plastic Man helps Spider-Man and Kitty Pryde onto the plane. Spider-Man asks Shujinko if he's coming, but Shujinko rejects their offer, as he still has unfinished business to do there, and states that he already knows another way out of Outworld. The group listens to him, and leaves him at the prison. The group travels on the plane to the nearest Earth-realm portal, and quickly arrive, and once they arrive, the plane falls apart, as Green Lantern uses the last bit of power his ring had. Batman then tells Plastic Man and Spider-Man to carry everyone, with Plastic Man noticing how exhausted Batman looks, but Batman brushes him off, telling him to check to see if the portal is the correct one. Plastic Man checks it, comically peeping his head out through it, and state that it is the correct portal. Batman then thanks Baraka for helping them, and also tells Plastic Man to carry Green Lantern, while Spider-Man carries Kitty Pryde to Earthrealm, instructing him to wait for him there. Plastic Man questions what he's waiting on, but Batman tells him to just wait, as he further questions Baraka on what exactly Shang Tsung wants, pointing out the scenario that Shang Tsung has created, saying point blank, why would Shang Tsung knowingly trick the strongest superheroes he could find, knowing that there's a chance that they could come back? Baraka is unsure of why Shang Tsung would do this, but then states that it probably has something to do with Quan Chi, another sorcerer who can traverse the realms with ease, and is probably the reason they're even here to begin with, as Shang Tsung focuses more on shapeshifting. Batman then thinks for a moment, before Baraka states that it's not fair that he is just a henchman with nothing more. Baraka then monologues that he was born with his blades, and that he had no choice in how people would perceive him, as well as how he can't fully escape the life he currently has. Baraka tells Batman that he sometimes wishes he could be more than the assumptions that others have on him, and thanks him for listening to his introspection. Batman then leaves Outworld, as Plastic Man tells him that Superman has just shared his location on where Raiden is. Batman is almost passing out from exhaustion, as Plastic Man and Spider-Man help him up, with Spider-Man telling him to not overdo it, while Plastic Man states that he can get them to the location fast. Spider-Man and Batman then question Plastic Man on why he's not exhausted, but Plastic Man explains that he just wants to give it his all to be a part of the Justice League, and transforms into a makeshift plane, carrying everyone to the location. After a short period of flying, Martian Manhunter contacts Plastic Man via mind reading, asking if he and the others are alright. Plastic Man says yes, and confirms Wonder Woman's suspicions of Shang Tsung setting them up. Plastic Man also reveals that everyone has become weaker due to their time here, with Wonder Woman confirming that the same thing has happened to them. Plastic Man then tells them that they can just hitch a ride and save their strength, as he speeds over to their location. Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Martian Manhunter question Plastic Man's strength and whether he's gotten weaker, but Plastic Man tells them to just share the locations with him, as he'll go straight to them. Martian Manhunter then tells everyone that he'll handle the negotiations, with everyone in agreement. Batman then tells Martian Manhunter not to screw this up, as this may be their only chance to reason with him and go home, but Martian Manhunter promises that he won't. Martian Manhunter and Raiden stare at each other, with Raiden slowly getting ready to fight, while Thor, Fujin, and Iron Man quickly follow suit. Superman then jokingly questions Martian Manhunter on what took him so long, as Shazam asks who that guy is. Plastic Man then introduces himself, along with everyone that was on board his makeshift plane. Spider-Man then runs out, pleading for a doctor as Kitty Pryde's skin is peeling off. Liu Kang then comes out to help Spider-Man, as he tells everyone that Captain America, Scarlet Witch, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Bruce Banner, and Tony Stark have started to do the same thing. Thor, Iron Man, and Quicksilver are frightened by this revelation, and immediately run towards the rest of the Avengers. Raiden then frighteningly admits that they might not have that much time left, as Superman then questions what they're talking about, but Batman comes off of Plastic Man's plane, telling him that they're dying from being in this dimension. Flash and Shazam then look on in horror as Cyborg's skin starts to peel off, revealing parts of his skeleton. Flash helps Cyborg stand, but falls down as he himself starts to feel the exhaustion of his cells constantly regenerating, replacing the skin that should have peeled off. Superman looks at them with fear, realizing that his own belief in doing what's right by whom he thought was a victim was turning his friends into piles of flesh by the second. Batman then tells Clark to calm down, as they can still win this. Raiden agrees with Batman, stating that if they can find Shang Tsung, then they can stop this madness and return the heroes home. Superman agrees and states that he'll do whatever he can. Plastic Man opts to join them in stopping Shang Tsung, but Batman stops him, stating that since he's immune to the damaging effects, then he should stay there and protect them in case Shang Tsung sends anyone else who fell for his tricks. Plastic Man begrudgingly agrees to this, as Batman tells Shazam and Flash to do the same, while Jarvis opts to stay there and protect everyone as well. Spider-Man, however, joins Superman and Raiden in fighting Shang Tsung. as he can keep fighting and won't stop with everything that's at stake. Thor applauds him, saying that he's earned himself a seat in Valhalla for this act alone, and states that he's not weak enough to stay behind either. Aquaman and Wonder Woman then say that although they feel weakened, they'll go for the sake of saving their friends and everyone else. Superman thanks them, as Batman tells him good luck, with his skin starting to peel off as well. Raiden then tells the group that he knows the exact locations of Shang Tsung and Quan Chi's studies, and tells them they'll be going into the Lion's Den. Raiden warns them that they must be prepared for anything, and tells them what Shang Tsung and Quan Chi can do. Liu Kang reassures Raiden that he'll protect everyone while he's gone, with Raiden being moved by his words, saying that he's a great warrior. Raiden then teleports the group to Quan Chi's study, surmising that if Shang Tsung was the one going to the heroes, then that would mean the Deadly Alliance is using Quan Chi's study to do their malpractice. The group appear before Shang Tsung and Quan Chi, who revel and glow about their plan, and how Raiden and his newfound allies are too weak to stop them, while Shang Tsung signals the Tarkatans to come out and surround the group. Reptile and Tanya then appear, as Shang Tsung taunts Raiden and the rest of the group. Shang Tsung then shapeshifts into the form of Batman, mocking him as he shouts that he thought he was more clever than a sorcerer, but ends up falling right into his trap. Superman snaps at this mockery, as he flies to attack Shang Tsung, but is attacked by Scorpion. A large fight ensues, with Aquaman and Thor fighting all of the Tarkatans, as Spider-Man fights against Reptile. Wonder Woman fights against Tanya and quickly overpowers her, mocking her level of fighting. Raiden then tries to go after Shang Tsung, but is overwhelmed by the amount of Tarkatans in the way, and this results in Raiden creating a massive explosion in energy and electricity, causing everyone to fall back, as he tells Shang Tsung that he will make him pay for causing this chaos. Shang Tsung then tells him to do his worst, as he sends Goro, Shiva, and Kentaro out to fight him. Raiden then attempts to lunge towards them, but Superman flies in and knocks Goro to the ground, telling him that he doesn't have to do this alone, and that Shang Tsung will be stopped by them together. Quan Chi laughs at this statement and whispers, if only they knew what he had in store for them, as Shang Tsung orders the henchmen and lackeys to kill them now. Another big brawl ensues, where Thor now takes on Kentaro and Goro, while Aquaman deals with the Tarkatans. Wonder Woman continues to fight Tanya and now Shiva, while Spider-Man fights Reptile and dodges an attack from an invisible opponent. Spider-Man is able to fend off Reptile momentarily, and momentarily sees what the invisible opponent is, and questions if it's even a real person. Raiden and Superman go after Shang Tsung and Quan Chi, but Quan Chi is able to weaken Superman heavily with the use of kryptonite he got from his dimension. This momentarily stuns Superman, as Shang Tsung knocks him down and attacks Raiden. Raiden then fights both Shang Tsung and Quan Chi, and despite his fatigue and injuries, is able to defeat them both. He closes the portal before Darkseid, Thanos, and other evil individuals could walk through. Raiden closes the portal by overriding it with his electricity, causing it to explode and leave nothing left. The explosion sends everyone to the ground, as Raiden states that it's finally over. Superman then interrupts him, saying that it's not over yet. He gets up, and despite his weakness to kryptonite, overcomes it by remembering each hero that has suffered because of his decision to help Shang Tsung. The piece of kryptonite is destroyed by Superman, and in a fit of rage, he unleashes a battle cry that breaks the glass of every window in the building. Superman then floats in the air menacingly, as he tells Shang Tsung and Quan Chi to send them home now, or there will be painful consequences. Shang Tsung tries to plead to Superman for forgiveness, but ends up trying to sucker punch him instead, which doesn't work as Superman headbutts him, cracking the front part of his skull and knocking him out. Superman then grabs Quan Chi by the throat and tells him to give up and send them back home, an order that Quan Chi swiftly follows, as Superman tells the rest of his enemies to stand down. Spider-Man then wisecracks on why Superman has super in the name. Superman, Wonder Woman, Thor, and Jarvis thank Raiden for his help, as he thanks them as well, and apologizes for the situation, and states that he promised this won't happen again. Superman then jokes that it wouldn't be the worst thing if they were to meet again under different circumstances, and Raiden happily agrees, as both the Marvel and DC heroes leave the Mortal Kombat dimension and return to their home dimensions. Liu Kang questions what Raiden will do about Shang Tsung and Quan Chi, but Raiden states that he doesn't need to do anything, as Shao Kahn has assassins on both of them, and that they will face the consequences of their failures tonight. Raiden also mentions that Hotaru will be compensated as well for the destruction the misunderstanding caused. Liu Kang then questions what if they try to do this again, but Raiden simply says that he'll have him on his side to help, as Raiden then asks Liu Kang if he would like to fight for Earthrealm in the Mortal Kombat tournament. We then cut to the Marvel heroes in the hospital, healing from their injuries. Captain America reassures Quicksilver that his sister will be fine, and leaves to find Black Widow and Hawkeye. Black Widow and Hawkeye talk about how strong Liu Kang was, with Captain America joking that he should increase their training. Black Widow then goes to check on Bruce Banner, thinking about how much he's actually done for the team, with Black Widow reminding him that he's an important part of them. Bruce Banner then has a heart-to-heart with Black Widow, revealing that when he was at peace, he saw her and the rest of the team, and the two kiss. Captain America looks on in joy as he later checks in on Tony Stark, who beats himself up for being so gullible, but the two converse with playful banter, and ends with Captain America concluding that Tony Stark just wanted to make things right, and that he shouldn't blame himself for being human. Captain America then leaves, with Nick Fury meeting him, and telling him that he was almost considering sending backup. Captain America then joke about how interesting it would have been to see Captain Marvel take on another God of Thunder and two sorcerers. Nick Fury then jokes about that dimension being unoriginal, as we cut to Scarlet Witch waking up, with Quicksilver hugging her, stating that they won. Jarvis, while still controlling the Iron Man suit, looks at Scarlet Witch as she hugs her brother, but gets distracted by Spider-Man walking past him. We then cut to Kitty Pryde waking up in her hospital bed, as Spider-Man offers her chocolate ice cream, saying he never forgot she mentioned it was her favorite. Kitty Pryde holds the ice cream and hugs Spider-Man as she cries, thanking him, with Spider-Man saying that she can just call him Peter. We cut to the Justice League hanging out, as Cyborg recovers from his injuries. Shazam apologizes for goading him into coming with him, but Superman and Batman tell him that it wasn't his fault that they were played. Cyborg then says that he actually had a mission he had to do, and suggests that Shazam should be his partner for it. Shazam gets happy at this, as Wonder Woman and Aquaman lightly argue over the credibility of Shang Tsung's story, with the two coming to a mutual understanding of one another. Flash, Green Lantern, and Martian Manhunter are shown celebrating and goofing off, but Superman brings everyone's attention to the podium as he announces that Plastic Man is now an official member of the Justice League, and commends him for proving that a man is more than what he's done in his past, and is instead a product of what he sets out for himself. We finally cut to Kung Lao, who is resting on his bed. Liu Kang comes to check on him, and after a brief conversation, Kung Lao states that he wishes he could have done more to help, instead of just taking the bullet. But Liu Kang reassures him that he will, and that he might even win the Mortal Kombat tournament. Baraka is shown being at home, questioning if he can truly escape this life, and even wonders what's after it for him. Reptile calls out to him, telling him that Shao Kahn called everyone to his lair for a meeting. Baraka then asks Reptile what he would do if he had a chance to start over, and not ending up in this current life. Reptile states that he doesn't know, as he only serves Shao Kahn, and after a short silence, says that we can't have everything that we'd want, and urges Baraka to head to the lair, with Baraka following suit. As he whispers "forgive me," Baraka leaves, but is being watched by Chameleon, who renders himself invisible. Shao Kahn throws Shang Tsung and Quan Chi to the ground, in front of everyone there, and questions why he shouldn't just kill them now, as they not only have not completed their objective, but most likely blacklisted them from any warriors that probably would have joined earlier. Quan Chi and Shang Tsung then look at each other, remembering the pact they made at the beginning of the story, with Scarlet looking on. Quan Chi states that he still has Scorpion under his thumb, and he can be rather useful given the right opponent, and says that he can create more during the tournament if need be. Shao Kahn appears to be satisfied with his answer, and then turns to Shang Tsung, who then admits that he's working on something big, and that even though he may need more time, he assures Shao Kahn that it's going to be practically unstoppable. Shao Kahn then asks Shang Tsung if he has come up with a name yet, but Shang Tsung responds that in fact he did come up with a name for her, the name in question being Melina. And that's my story mode for Mortal Kombat vs. Marvel and DC. I wanted the characters to have justifiable reasons to not talk before they throw hands, and Shang Tsung tricking them was the best way to do it, as it helped me set up a lot of different situations where I could write arguably the smartest character in the story still getting tricked and having it make sense. And speaking of smart characters, I wanted to give the characters proper respect in their characterization, having them make decisions and choices that not only fit their characters, but also their level of intellect, with the biggest example being Raiden, who was propped up to being one of the wisest characters on the roster in the original game, but made so many stupid decisions that you'd assume that he was one of the special kids on the short bus. As for the gameplay, I have a ton of ideas here, so much that it's got me looking like Charlie Day in this photo. So for the sake of organization and time, let's just go down this list starting with the top. The characters in Mortal Kombat will have the same set of moves they've always had, since it's practically the same thing every game. This same logic also applies to the DLCs, by the way. Granted, the only notable exception here would be Chameleon, considering the fact that he has the same iconic moves as Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, and Rain, making him pretty much an unoriginal character, with the only interesting thing about him being the fact that he'll attract players who think they're the main character. So I think the best way to rework Chameleon is to give him the same set of moves that every ninja has, but alter the way they actually work. For example, Chameleon's get over here from Scorpion can just bind the opponent, keeping them in place so that you can get a combo going, while Sub-Zero's Ice Dash can be used to evade your opponent when you're getting washed like a pile of dishes. As for Reptile and Rain, the Acid Spit from Reptile will temporarily increase the amount of damage you do for a short period of time, while Rain's Lightning Bolt will hit the enemy from behind, causing them to fall towards you, giving you the same setup as Scorpion's Get Over Here. Overall, I think this is the best way to rework Chameleon, but if I'm wrong, then please give me an alternative instead of just saying this. Now going into the DC section of characters, I think giving them the same moveset as the original game wouldn't hurt anyone, considering that anything I would come up with would just be the same as 1 or 2. For Booster Gold, I think making him a zoner would work since energy projection is one of his main abilities. The question should operate as a pairing/reversals character, considering he has no special abilities whatsoever, while Saint Walker can be a reverse Atrocitus in Injustice, where his Blue Lantern attacks can only help refill his health bar by a small amount, giving him hope that he can actually win the match. Of course, this may sound overpowered and would need a lot of different tweaks to make it balanced, but in all honesty, I think it would be a pretty interesting idea to implement, since it would fit the character of Saint Walker, who I personally believe is the most underrated superhero of all time. Plastic Man can work in the same manner as both Booster Gold and Chameleon, where his attacks can either push the enemy away or bring them closer to him, giving him a good balance between zoning the enemy and opening them up for an attack, a balance that mirrors his character development in the actual story. Moving on to the Marvel section, Spider-Man should operate as an in-air grappler, where he can leap into the air and throw his opponents via his webbing. He's also getting a projectile. Kitty Pryde can also have a special set of moves that allow her to evade the opponent's attacks by going through them, giving her an opening to combo attack. Of course, these moves are going to have a cooldown considering how powerful they are, which doesn't happen a lot in fighting games surprisingly enough. Captain America can be an anti-zoning character for obvious reasons, Black Widow can work as a pseudo Sonya Blade, and Hawkeye should be in a similar position to Chameleon, while Thor can have similar moves to Raiden, considering they're just the same character but from 2 different franchises. Iron Man would be a pretty decent fit for an all-rounder character, and giving him a defense shield around his body could also work. Hulk should obviously be a big body character, while Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch can be mirrors of Cabal and Nightwolf. And for the DLCs, Captain Marvel should be a mix of Superman and Booster Gold, while Doctor Strange should be a mix of Quan Chi's portals and MK1, and Johnny Cage's energy projectiles. Deadpool is most likely going to function as Marvel's equivalent to Chameleon, where he can use the moveset of other superheroes such as Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Hawkeye, Black Widow, and maybe Spider-Man. For the last character, Legion, I'm thinking he should have a similar mechanic that was introduced in Mortal Kombat Armageddon, where he can switch to a different style for his character, but in this case, that style will function as a personality, giving him a wide variety since he canonically has over 1,000 personalities in the comics, each with their own superpower. Obviously, I'm going to limit the number of personalities you can switch from to 3 in order to make the character balanced, with each personality falling under these specific archetypes. And as for the guest characters, I think it's best if I leave the comments to decide this one, mostly because I actually want to hear what other people can come up with. Alright, time for the next thing on the list, which are the maps. Shao Kahn's lair is the most obvious pick, and frankly, I think it's a requirement. Not because it's the most iconic map in the franchise, but because it's one of the few chances I get to look under Shao Kahn's skirt. Quan Chi's study and Raiden's residence can also be really good picks, along with the Hall of Justice and Avengers Tower. It can include a ton of Easter eggs and items that you can relentlessly beat your opponent with. That one neighborhood from Order Realm and the Outworld prison are also going to be selectable locations, since you literally have fights in them in the story mode. Last but not least, I think the hospital should be here too, mostly because of this meme right here.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
Now let's get to what both the fans and NetherRealm really care about. The possibility for the skins in this game are damn near endless, and I say damn near because if there's anything that the Avengers game taught us, it's that just because you can make it a skin doesn't mean you should. Of course, I doubt that NetherRealm will make this mistake since they have cooked with their designs before, specifically Melina in Mortal Kombat X, but they are also the same ones that came up with this shit. So to play it safe here and appease the wider audience, I think it'd be best if each female character had a beach themed skin, similar to this. How did you know that Sophie Rain was the last thing in my search history? Alright, before I go, I'd just like to say that you don't have to thank me for making such a good concept. Just liking the video and subscribing will be enough. Also, next video, I'll be rewriting the entirety of Insomniac's Spider-Man 2. So if you want to see the BTS of me working on it, then consider subscribing to my Patreon. Have a good day and I'll see you all in 2 weeks.